I don't think any university can teach you what actually works.
How important is school for marketing?
I teach marketers with 20 plus years of experience.
How do you see AI play into that?
What I see also many personal brands do is like very lazy use of AI. I go to LinkedIn and my eyes hurt.
This is one of the first Viral House podcast episodes in English. Welcome back to another episode. I don't know how manyth episode this is. We just kind of stopped counting because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. What matters is that we have interesting guests that have something interesting to say. And that's exactly the reason why you're here today in front of the mic, in front of the camera, because I think this is going to be a very interesting conversation.
Okay, no pressure.
No pressure. It needs to be interesting, but no pressure. Don't worry. And there's lots I want to talk about. So I don't want to say much more except for, first of all, welcome to the podcast. If somebody out there doesn't know who you are, what you do, how would you give them like an elevator pitch of like who you are?
Well, there are a lot of people out there who don't know what I do. And my elevator pitch is something that I always say is that I work with founders, experts, and founders, experts, and I build their personal brands and online presence. Basically, that's pretty much it.
That's a very, very elevator pitch, but that's cool. And to start us off, I did something. Something that I think all of us are kind of dealing with right now, which is like ChatGPT. And I don't know, because in other podcasts, they used to have like Wikipedia true or false, where they go through people's Wikipedia entries. So I asked ChatGPT to give me 5 facts about you. You get to tell me whether they're true or false.
Okay.
Let's start with the fact that you have a PhD. Is that true or not?
Yeah, I'm finishing my PhD now.
Oh, you're finishing it right now? Mm-hmm. Can you give us like a quick overview in what you're doing your PhD? Maybe why you're still doing that while you have like all this other stuff going on with in marketing, with personal branding that you just talked about. Like, why is that still something that is important to you to do to finish?
Right. Well, first of all, because I'm not a quitter. So
okay, that's a good first reason. No, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. I came to Austria almost 9 years ago to do my PhD. So before that, I was in Finland, and my professor there, he was like, if you want to continue studying in this field, you have to go to Austria because there is like a mafia in this whole thing. So many labs working on it. And I was like, okay, let's go to Austria. Like,
why not? Okay,
let's eat schnitzel, drink beer. Sounds great. And I came here, 5 years in the lab, and I felt like it was not my thing. Like I felt actually really, really stupid most of the time. And not because I was stupid, but because I was not doing what everyone else was doing.
In what way did you feel stupid? Like, because I think for me and for a lot of the people listening, when you talk about a lab, that's like a very foreign world, you know, to what we've seen and what. So can you like maybe give a little bit of context of like what does lab work look like and why did it make you feel that way?
Yeah. So I would say, not to sound arrogant, I'm actually quite smart. I am. And I love doing experiments, I love doing research, but I really hated the fact that you had to be there like 24/7. And that was rewarded more than if you had good results.
Yeah, okay, I see.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of my colleagues would go home and read a scientific paper for fun. And I was like, what? Fuck, that's not fun. I have other things to do. Like I go play volleyball or go on Tinder dates.
Yeah.
And they were reading papers for fun. I'm like, am I stupid? Is there something wrong with me? Like, or am I just not cut out for this world? And when you have these standards of everyone watching how early you come and how late you go and how many projects you run at once and all these extra things that you're doing, at some point you start taking it personally, like you are not good enough for all of that. But I love my project. Like I loved it, and I did spend a lot of hours there. And when I decided to quit science was, there is a whole story behind that as well. But obviously I didn't want all of that work to go to waste. And I wanted to have a PhD because over those 5 years plus all the years before that, I was working so hard, so like 8 years in total in the lab. First few years not being paid even, like I was doing my studies at the university, and then I would go in the evening to the lab, and I would just do all of those experiments just to gain experience, because I wanted to, make something out of it. So I didn't want it to go to waste. And now it's been 5 years since I left the lab. And I'm still doing it because it's a long process. You have to publish a paper, actually 2 papers, and there is peer review behind it, and you have to rebuttal, you might need to do some experiments. And so it's a long process, and especially since I was not in the lab anymore. And there had to be other people helping me out with this, so it all took so long. And plus, building my own business in the same time, I maybe had like 1 day a month to work on it.
Yeah.
And so that's why it spread so long. But now we are submitting my thesis, so all the papers are published, submitting my thesis, and then I'm dreading the moment when I have to defend my thesis, because I don't remember it anymore. Like
So you have to study your own thesis kind of now.
I have to study my thesis. I have to study all the past papers again, because I don't remember facts. I remember vaguely what I did. If somebody asks me details of my experiments, I will not remember. Like I'll have to go through all of this. So I think before the defense, I will have to take like a month studying it all over again.
And are you looking forward to being done with it, or you are? So this is not something where you're like, oh man, I wish I could do this for another year or something. No,
No, it's been dragging for so long.
No worries.
I've been super lazy, and it's all my fault, obviously. But I was prioritizing differently.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, but no, I want to get it over with, and it's great to have a PhD title to your name. Like, especially in Austria, everyone is like, "Oh, you're a doctor." Yeah, okay. They have nothing to do with it anymore, but it's great.
The Frau Doktor. That's I don't know if this is like, because I found this out when I moved to the US, that other countries don't do this.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like if somebody doesn't know this, in Austria, sometimes you even call people by their title. So in school, we had to call our teachers Mr. Professor or Miss Professor, or you go to the doctor and you don't call them by their name like you would in the US. It's like, hey, Mr. Smith, like, how are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. I have this and this problem. You say like, Miss Doctor, I have this and this problem. So this, I feel like this is such a like Austrian thing. And since you mentioned this before, that you moved here, because I think this is always fun to hear from people that have moved to Austria. And I moved away and then came back and then lived in Germany for 2 years too. So I think I have a little bit of context for this too. What are some of the weirdest things that Austrians do or say? This is completely unrelated to everything else, but I just want to ask it.
I discuss this a lot with my clients, because it has so much to do with online presence and how you appear online and what you do for your business.
Yeah.
And so what Austrians like to say, it has always been like this. So like shouldn't change, or it has never been done, or it's something like this. Yeah, that they've never done that, or that it wouldn't work here.
Oh yeah, I'd love to do that.
And that Austria is 10 years behind, and basically in everything. I hear it in so many different contexts, marketing, gaming, you name it. And I'm like, I feel like it's a badge of honor for many Austrians. You're like, yeah, we've always done it like this, and it won't work here as it works in other countries. And we are 10 years behind, and it's all fine, and it's like, all great.
I think also like because this plays into the same direction, I think Austrians are very good with always finding arguments why it actually wouldn't work. We're like, well, I can show you like all this data where it's worked in different markets. They're like, yes, but this and this is why we think it wouldn't. And it's like, well, but it has with your competitors in Austria, even when they did like test runs or pilot projects. And they're like, yes, but they're completely different than us, and our target groups are completely different. It wouldn't work with our target group.
I love
that. And you just keep you keep going down the list, and at the end, they're like, okay, well then, Well, then don't. What can we do?
Yeah.
All right. I would like to go on with the list that ChatGPT gave me. It says here, which I already know is true. So like, good job, ChatGPT. But I want to bring it up. You actively worked in cancer research.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, that was my PhD.
How does one? And now I kind of want to bring it back to marketing a little bit. How does one look at work that is presumably like very valuable to you at that point? Tell me if I'm wrong. And it sounds like it would be very valuable to like the world in general, cancer research. And how do you go from doing that to I want to build or I want to help people build their personal brand online?
Well, when I quit science, I didn't know that I wanted to to help people build their personal brands.
So that wasn't like you did science and you knew exactly what else you already wanted to do. Okay.
No. When I quit science, the only thing that I had going on for me was my dog's Instagram account that I was growing.
Oh, that's so fun. That's so funny was that one of the like triggers where you were like, hey, I should look at the social media thing?
Exactly, yeah. That's how I
That's
discovered
so
marketing.
fun. That's so fun.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, keep going.
No worries. So I got the puppy. It's a really rare breed. It's Nova Scotia Dactylian Retriever. When they're puppies, they have these blue eyes. Like they change their eye color with the age, but they have blue eyes and this red coat, and they're so cute. And so all of my friends around me were like, you have to make an Instagram account for this dog. And I'm like, I have no idea about social media, followers or anything. Only thing that I knew was like being an influencer is kind of stupid. Like, we all think that.
Yeah, in the beginning you're like, so you just post online, you get paid for it. Like, that's weird. Like that kind of.
And then I started posting the photos, but I also was writing a lot about what we were going through raising the puppy. And then suddenly people were like writing these long comments to my posts, and I was like, what's happening? And they were telling me how honest it is, and finally there is a corner on the internet where you can talk about problems. And some reels went viral. At some point I understood exactly what I have to post to go viral, to bring new followers, exactly what I need to post to get engagement from existing followers, and it became like math. And because I come from science, I was like, I cannot have it, like I cannot do it half-ass. I have to do it properly. So I started dissecting everything, how everything works. So I started like looking into how do you make a reel, how do you write hooks, how do you make carousels, how do you make it go viral? And like suddenly it all started working, and I'm like, oh my God, it totally makes sense. And I was studying from nobody in Austria, because I don't know if anyone in Austria, like there are a few agencies who can make things go viral, but like
I would say that we're one of them, but yeah, sure, yeah.
Well, what's important is not like agencies, because I was looking for like coaches from whom I can learn like personal brands. So I was looking a lot in the US and Australia, and I took a lot of courses, and I'm like, this is awesome. It seems like I have a hand for it, so maybe I can turn it into a job. And I wasn't planning to earn with my dog's Instagram account, although now we do commission from brands. And then I was like, okay, let's just quit. And I just quit. I went into cold water. I had nothing going on for me, just this Instagram account.
Can I ask a question about that? Because it seems like what you just said is that generally, and again, tell me if I'm wrong, generally it seems like when you do something, it's quite calculated. Like when you look at a video, and we do exactly the same thing, we say, okay, like what happened, like how much reach did I get, how much engagement, and then the why. And you try to break it down into things that are like, that are repeatable. You try to break it down into things that aren't just random, where you're like, I don't know why this worked, it just did. And it's like, no, there's, certain things, and you look at the hook, and you look at the swipe ratio and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So all that seems very calculated, but then you say the jump from your PhD or from your science background into the personal branding marketing world, it seemed very uncalculated, or am I wrong?
Well, it was thought through, but I didn't have any data to back up my decision in terms of like, is it going to be successful
Yeah.
or not? But I very strongly believe that if you do what you're really passionate about, if you're like obsessed about something, it will work out. So in the end, I believe that whatever we do will work out as long as we are persistent and like stick to it. And I didn't go into self-employment right away. I actually got kind of lucky. A friend of mine started a CBD agency in Liechtenstein. And he was like, hey, your Instagram account looks kind of cool, so you know how to make content. Maybe you can come to work with us and be our social media manager. And I was like, sure, let's do it.
Yep.
I was the only marketer there, so I haven't posted a single Instagram post for them. The things that I was doing was everything else: branding, website creation, copywriting, marketing strategies, photo shootings, writing contracts for employees. It was like
Employment
everything.
contracts?
Employment
As a social
contracts.
media manager?
Yeah.
See, that's new. I've heard about like social media managers doing all the other things. I've never heard anybody say I wrote employment contracts. It sounds to me like the path that many people in marketing have gone through, especially when you start your journey, which was similar for me at kind of smaller-ish companies, where they're like, okay, we need somebody for marketing. We'll get a person and then just throw everything at them
Exactly.
that has loosely anything to do with marketing. Because let's be honest, copywriting and building a website, like, sure, you need to put text on a website, but the technical side of it is like very different from like, you know, other things. What do you think? Do you think having a job where you needed to do everything was valuable to you in the long run?
It was the best school you
Yeah.
could have had. Like you can go 4 years, sit at the university, scroll through your phone while a professor is reading something
Yeah.
and learn nothing. Or you can go for 5 years into a startup where you have to do everything and figure out everything yourself. And it's like, it's fun because for me it was fun. It was not scary. It was a challenge. I like a good challenge. Like
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
challenge me for playing here if you want.
Yeah.
Don't do that. But
Let's see if we come up with some other challenges.
so, and I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's make something great. And I love the fact that they trusted me, even though I had no experience or knowledge pretty much. But I was certain that I can find all the answers because they're
Yeah.
all out there. So I can listen to all the podcasts, read through all the blog articles, which I was doing, watch all YouTube videos. And like one by one, we were solving our issues. And eventually the startup went bankrupt.
Oh, okay. As
was not because of me.
as startups sometimes do.
Yeah, there were a lot of issues, but for me, I think I would have never learned all that if I was at a university. And I'm very happy I was in that really weird company. It was like crazy with crazy founders, and like I get a phone call, one telling me one thing, and like 4 founders and all.
Four
Another one-
founders? Oh, Lord.
Another one telling me something else, third one telling me something else, fourth email telling me something else, and I'm like, great.
Cool.
Yeah, so I loved it.
I assume you also have an academic background in the field of science that you went into first. When I talk to people about education and school in general, lately I've noticed that it usually goes in 2 ways. Not always, but a lot of the times. First is sort of like the crowd of, I would say, my parents that grew up in a world where if you go to school, you're going to have a good life, and if you go to a better school, you're going to have a better life. That was sort of like the framework, right? They grew up in the 60s, after the war, all this stuff. Like, that's the world that they grew up in. And then when I talk to a lot of founders and, freelancers and stuff, they're like, school didn't teach me anything, and I learned everything just by doing it myself and stuff. And so those are like the 2 extremes. You just said that job was the best education that you could have had for marketing specifically, but generally, where do you fall on the spectrum of like let's stick with marketing, because I think, like, you know, if you go into science and like you want to be a lawyer, gotta go to school, gotta study for it.
Yeah.
That's what it is. But if we say we stick to the topic of marketing, how important is school/education for marketing?
Yeah. It's definitely important. It just doesn't have to be the conventional kind of education. Well, so I'm originally from Russia, and there also everyone has the belief that you have to go study, but there is a bit different kind of belief, is that you just need to study something, get the degree, and then you can choose your profession, which I think is absurd, because you waste so much time where you could actually be learning useful stuff. But in the end, that's what happened to me, right? I studied cancer, and then now I'm doing marketing. But what I think is really valuable about education is that it gives you a broader perspective on things, and also it makes you more intellectual, because you have more subjects than just one specific subject. So you kind of have a broader horizon. And I teach marketers. So I teach at Digital World Academy, and twice a month I sit in front of like 20 entrepreneurs and marketers. Marketers with 20 plus years of experience, and they're sitting there, and I tell them that their thinking is outdated directly into their eyes, because they think like what they studied before, and they also, this is what they apply in their work. And so the difference what I see that those marketers have that I don't have is that, for example, when I mention a book, The Death of Demographics, that talks about the fact that when we define our target audience, we don't need to mention age or marital status and all of those things, because it's all about value graphics and what people value, their interests and so on. And when I mentioned that book, the marketers with 20 plus years of experience and official education were like, did they use that method to find that out? And I was like, what method? I don't know that method. And they were like, yeah, that's when you do this and this. And I was like, honestly, who cares? It's amazing for them that they can put a name to the method that was used for the statistical analysis of the data in the book. But it doesn't matter. What matters is the results that you get from the analysis. I mean, unless you need to do something like this, you need to know the methods. But for me, that didn't matter. So in the end, I think it's valuable education, because we have a broader overview on things, in broader perspective. But in terms of modern marketing, I don't think any university can teach you what actually works. I don't think, and the thing is that I prefer to learn from people who are like the best in their field. Like, I was taking online courses from Amy Porterfield to learn launches and digital courses. I was taking courses from Chris Donnelly to learn LinkedIn marketing. And I'm now in the mastermind of Dane Walker to learn branding, personal branding, content creation. So I would not go to a university to learn from somebody who has never done it in their life. That's total bullshit. What can they teach me? So for me, I think if you kind of create your own curriculum and you know what your goal is and where you're heading, it's much better to learn from the best than go to university to learn from somebody who has never done it in their life.
100% agree. Can't really add much to it. But you mentioned that you sit in front of these, marketers and also like experts in their field, you could call them. Have you ever had the feeling of like, some might call it like imposter syndrome, of like, all these people are like already experts, what can I teach them? Or did you always go into it with like, no, you're here for a reason because you want to hear me talk and I'm going to tell you something?
So when I started teaching 4 years ago, that was like 1 year into my whole marketing experience, which was insane. I just finished that startup. I was working in another startup. I did a ton of online education. And then the owner of this Digital World Academy, he was like, he saw that I finished this education that was the Meta Digital Marketing Associate, where you take the exam from Meta. And you are basically like a certified social media expert and meta ads expert. And he asked me to teach meta ads. By that time, I maybe ran 2 meta ads campaigns.
Yeah.
And I spoke really bad German, like really bad. And he asked me to teach, and I was like, "Are you sure? Like, you know my background?" And he was like, "Yeah, I like you. You're funny. Like, people.
So I like you. I like you.
Exactly. He's one of the best Austrian people I know because he's so chilled. I really like it. I come sometimes late to my lectures, and he's like, "Oh." He doesn't even like question that. I wonder how long it will take until he starts questioning. But anyway. So, yes, the first years that I was sitting there, first of all, I was like, am I even going to understand the questions that people ask me because it was in German? Second of all, I hardly had any practical experience. And of course, I had imposter syndrome, but I didn't let it stop it. Like, we all have imposter syndrome, but it's the matter of whether you decide to, like, make yourself small and say, hey, I have imposter syndrome, so I'm not going to do that. Or you're going to say, okay, I have imposter syndrome because... yeah, and I accept it, and I nip it in the bud, and I still do that. And there was a situation where one woman actually asked me, like, who am I to sit there in front of them and teach them that?
Did she ask that from the group of students?
Yeah.
Okay, damn. Damn.
Yeah. So I told her something, and then, but the thing with me is that, because of my scientific background, I believe I learned so much and so fast. So as soon as I start talking about these marketing things, whatever factual things, everyone is like taken aback because they see the depth of my knowledge.
Yeah.
And so I was just waiting. Honestly, for 2 years, I was just waiting until somebody asked me that, because probably I would also be asking, who is she to teach us?
Yeah.
Right? But now, after running so many meta ads campaigns and doing so much content, I'm like just killing them, and I'm like telling this story from experience and this story from my experience, and my German is a bit better. So, and that's why now I have the guts to tell old marketers, like, you have an outdated view on how social media works, and like you need to get up to date.
There's so many things I could go into there. And that I want to talk about, but one thing that I, want to talk to you about and give you kind of the chance to also like maybe even pitch it a little bit, is because also ChatGPT suggested this. Well, I need to find it real quick because there's a whole list of questions that I could be asking. First of all, what is content fudge? And then second of all, what is what you call your spotlight framework?
Right.
Also, again, if you could say, like, what do I get out of it in 60 seconds?
Spotlight framework is the best. So after working with so many experts and founders, I've identified a concrete process what they need with just 6 steps to get them from not having anything, not a brand, not online presence, into having a professional online presence and kick-ass social media content.
That's it.
Yeah.
Great. What's Content Fudge then?
Well, that's actually my brand, but unfortunately Content Fudge is gonna die.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna kill Content Fudge, and I'm gonna rebrand it into something else, because when I became self-employed and I started Content Fudge, I wanted to have a content marketing agency for brands that want to make fun content, not like stuck up professional boring stuff, but like something really fun and bold and and that's why I wanted my brand to be fun and sweet,
Fun and bold and stuff, yeah.
Not cute, no, but like fun.
Yeah.
And I was looking like, okay, Content Fudge sounds kind of cool. You can call me Big Fudge or something like this. You can like make all this play on words like...
candy references and those kind of things. Okay, yeah, that's cool.
Fudge references. I was thinking back then about How I Met Your Mother. Have you seen this series?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And what's his name? He was like, call me Judge Fudge.
Barney.
No, not Barney. The tall guy.
Marshall.
Marshall, yeah.
Sorry, that took way too long. Yes.
Yeah, under pressure, I don't remember names. But so he was like Big Fudge or Judge Fudge. And I was like, yeah. And when I graduate from my PhD, you can call me Dr. Fudge or something like this. And my newsletter is called Sunday Fudge. But that will stay because I love that name. But very quickly, I pivoted from just making content because when I was getting clients and they were like, okay, I need clients, I need more reach, I need content. And then I would start asking them all these questions about their brand and their story and vision and what they want to communicate. They couldn't say anything. And many of them didn't even have branding. And then I would look at their website and it looked like it was made in 2002. And I was like, okay, we can do the best content, but if somebody lands on their website, nobody will convert because it's just a horror. And by that time, I already made a couple of websites for both of the startups that I worked and other friends who were asking me. And then, so I was like taking all of my clients one step back and saying, hey, you know what? I think if you really want your brand and business to work, we should actually think about branding first and brand strategy and maybe changing your website as well because nobody will trust you. It looks so shady, you know. It looks like a scam. You would never buy from them. And then that happened to one person I worked with, second person I worked with, third person I worked with. And then I was like, there is a pattern clearly. And also it's not fun for me to make content for a brand. I don't believe it because I know they will just spend money on me. They will spend a lot of effort and time on content and they will not get the results. And then they will blame me that I didn't do my job well.
Well, the content doesn't work or social media doesn't work for us. That's, some of the answers you usually
get. Clients from social media, okay.
Yeah.
So it took me probably 6 months just doing content and like these additional things until I realized, okay, I have to redo all of my offers, everything. And I saw that with even those first 3-4 clients, it was the same process when I took them back to the strategy, discussing the boring things like target audience and offers and pricing and then brand communication and then all these things. So I repackaged it and I packaged it into a Spotlight framework, which is a process now and not these individual services. So I know every time an expert or founder comes to me and says, hey, I want to be visible online and I want to have authority online, we build their personal brand through this process. So that's what had happened, and that's why Content Fudge was a beautiful brand for a content marketing agency. If somebody wants to buy it, I can sell the branding.
Hey, links down below, please reach out.
And now I'm gonna rebrand into like people branding studio, basically, where...
Yeah, so that's one thing I wanted to ask, because you talk about that in the beginning. It was meant for brands to, they were asking about content, and then you were like, okay, websites, this and that. And now it seems like this framework that you've created is specifically for personal brands.
Yeah.
Why did you also, besides what you do, pivot for who you do it for?
Yeah, because I'm 100% convinced, and I mean, many people will back me up, that personal branding is the future of marketing. It's like new marketing, because the old model where you would have a business brand, a location, and you would advertise around, it doesn't work anymore because every business is the same. And every agency is the same, and they don't create any emotions in people. And so that's why creators, influencers, experts are growing so fast, and no agency or company would ever grow as fast as those people, even though they are the owners of certain companies, right? Because people prefer people 100%. And the new type of marketing is that you have a person, be it a founder of a business or an expert who's working for themselves, and they now don't sell services or products, or at least they shouldn't. They should sell their intellectual property to their ideal client avatar that is not local but global, because with social media you can reach anyone anywhere. So that's how I see it, and I see that CEOs of huge corporates are pivoting into personal branding, corporate influencing, employee branding. Everyone is pivoting, and that's just the future. And I don't know what will come next, but that's definitely the way it's gonna be working now for the next few years.
You speak about like what comes next and IP. How do you see the world or the technology of AI play into that? Because I try to bring it up in every podcast we do now, because it's like, I go to quite a lot of events and I talk to quite a lot of people. And right now, at this moment, and this might change, or it will definitely change, but right now it seems like everybody knows AI is there. A lot of people are sort of scared of it. Some people are like very hype about it, but nobody really knows what's going to happen. And it's sort of just like this cloud of AI that's kind of there, and everybody's just trying to kind of get through the fog a little bit. And sometimes you have like very cringe marketing campaigns. Like if we talk about like bigger companies, very cringe marketing campaigns that come out of it. And other influencers, people, and then sometimes companies do very cool stuff with it.
Yeah.
How do you see that kind of land for yourself and also the people that you help?
I think that's exactly the reason why one has to go personal branding and not just advertising products or services. Because if you are out there with your face, showing up unpolished, AI won't be able to replace it. Of course, it's getting better. People can create fake videos and stuff. But if you are consistently online and you nurture a community of people who know you for a long time, where you're showing up, they will always be your fans. And AI will never be a danger to you. The problem, what I see also many personal brands do, but also businesses, is like very lazy use of AI, because, it used to be that you would like grow if you were just posting consistently, and now it's not a requirement anymore. Like it's an entry ticket, because basically it's super cheap. You can produce consistent content every day, write long articles. It's not a problem anymore. And we get all this tidal wave of mediocre bullshit content just like filling up the internet. And that I really dislike. Like I go to LinkedIn and my eyes hurt, my heart shrivels, because what I read is awful. But then if you do it right, also if you use AI right, it can like make it really great and much lighter, everything that you do. And in the end, if you have a good brand, good personality, if you're not afraid to show it, if you're not afraid to, be weird, cringe, whatever you are as a person, if you can put it out there, no AI will compete with it.
The way we see it and the way we try to communicate it to clients and like pitches and in meetings and stuff is that we see it kind of like as a boost for things that already have kind of proven themselves a little bit, because like you just said, it has become very easy and very cheap to produce a lot of content. And what we always say is like, take that, like use that as an advantage, which means you talked before about different target groups and stuff. And for example, we don't see target groups as these like stiff, like just you set your goalposts and that's your target group kind of, but like they can change and you can have multiple pieces of content speak to the same target group, but in different ways, for example, which is also like very different than like classical marketing where you have like one slogan and then you need to just communicate that one sentence to everybody, which I'm like, maybe not the best way to do it anymore. You can take the essence and the emotion you want to convey and just put it into very different messaging that convey it to different people. if you have a very broad audience for like consumer brands and stuff. What I want to get to is you can then take all these things you've learned from all the pieces of content you put out, and you have to do a lot of like active listening and a lot of community management, which I also think brands don't do enough. And then you can look at, okay, how can we do the thing that like our target group or like people already respond to, and do it even better and even crazier with AI? Because there's, of course, a lot of things that you would hire an animation studio 4 or 5 years ago, and now you can do like a 95% version of that same thing with AI, and I think that's where it becomes very, very interesting. We're coming up to the end of our podcast, unfortunately.
Oh no.
I think it's been very interesting so far. Is there anything, and I always like to ask this, is there anything that you would still like to talk about?
I want to hear what ChatGPT said.
Yeah, you want more? You want more? Okay,
yeah, we
cool.
can go like quickly through that.
Cool. Okay, so there's a lot of ChatGPT gave me a lot of stuff that I'm like, okay, I already know this is true, but we can go through it quickly. She's the founder and CEO of Content Fudge.
Yeah.
we went through that. She describes herself as an online marketer and brand communications strategist.
Yes.
Cool. She says she started her career in science and earned a PhD in cancer immunology.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So
That's
far so good. No.
Okay.
We got more.
No, like dirty stuff.
No, that's what I mean. It's like very, very basic stuff it gave me. But I have to say, it doesn't seem to be wrong.
Yeah, it's actually really. I somehow unintentionally I did a great job on geo, right? Is it called?
I mean, the more good content you put out there, as people say, and I'm not in the geo camp. Like that is not my world right now.
Yeah,
but from what I've heard is the more content you put out and the better the content is and the better structured the content is, the more these black box AI things can pull from it. Basically, that's what I've heard.
Oh, so, okay, then it's a great job.
That's it. There's no like real dirt here that I can give you.
That's a bit sad.
Do you want more like
fun. All the fun stuff?
Okay, no, it's she Content Fudge received recognition via the HIPE award. Okay, cool. She publishes long form content.
Yeah.
Very true. She states she's launched 2 successful companies, Content Fudge and U4 Success.
U4
That we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, U4 was one of their startups where I worked, but it's kind of unfair because it was my husband's company that we launched together. I was employed there, and it was awesome. Like, he's doing it himself now. I'm not involved anymore.
Cool.
But it was also, again, the best school because I was there doing everything alone, on my own, figuring it out, and building websites and everything, learning SEO, learning meta. Like my first meta campaigns were because of my husband's company. So only best memories about that.
That's very cool. Yeah. I think to sum everything up that we've talked about, for somebody who like starts out in marketing and is thinking about like maybe a career change like we've both done, what is like a piece of advice you would give to somebody that want to get into marketing in 2026?
Well, I mean, just do it and do it in a way that, okay, so if they didn't officially study marketing, I would recommend some crazy experience, like going into something that makes you feel like super uncomfortable, which will feel very wrong for many people because we kind of default to playing it safe and or actually doing something of their own, like starting a dog Instagram account or like a cooking account or something like this, because if you do it yourself with your own hands, and it's not like if you watch somebody do, like in an agency, right? When you come as an intern and you watch others do, of course you learn from them a lot, and it would be a great combination. But I think one just has to jump into cold water and do something crazy, like find a startup with four crazy founders who do not agree among themselves, and like you have to figure out, or do something of your own. Like, I don't know, start streaming on Twitch, because that's like
Streaming is super interesting.
yeah, the streamers have the best trust and reputation and the best fan community.
Yeah.
So like among all of the podcasters, YouTubers, streamers are like way further. So like go and stream how you're, I don't know, doing the dishes or something crazy.
Yeah, honestly, I could not agree more. I think the best way to learn, especially what we are doing, is just to get your hands dirty and see what works, and maybe more importantly, see what doesn't work. Because also I can tell you there's a lot of things that people talk about that just don't work the way that everybody thinks they do. And by figuring out that yourself, you're gonna learn a lot along the way.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to sum it up. All right, well, thank you so much for joining me. It's just me today. Joining me in this. We have a huge crowd behind the camera there. You can't see it. Thanks, guys. Thank you for joining me today on the podcast. And maybe we'll do a part 2.
Definitely, there's so many. Like, I am obsessed with marketing.
Yeah,
and
same. I can talk about this forever.
Exactly. Like, give me 3 hours, it won't be enough.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe we'll do a part 2. I think that would be fun. If you have any questions for either one of us, please write them down below. If you're on YouTube, you can comment on Spotify. You can comment on Apple Podcasts. Please rate us. All the podcast platforms that you might be listening on. Follow, like, subscribe, do the usual. All your links are also down below on whichever platform you're listening to. Please check out everything. The LinkedIn, the all the content. I think you'll get a lot of value out of it. And if you're interested in maybe joining a what was the? I'm sorry, I forgot. I'm so bad with names. What was the content system called?
Spotlight framework.
What? Yes. And if you're like, hey, this sounds perfect for me.
Yeah.
Also check that out, and maybe you'll see one of our listeners or watchers in one of your.
Yeah, I hope so. Like, my goal is to build like kick-ass people out there who are like
Perfect.
not afraid and ambitious and want to change something.
Cool.
Who have something to say. So if you have something to say, let's do it.
Click on the links, and we'll see you in the next episode of the Viral House podcast.
Nice.
Thank you again so much for coming.
Thank you for inviting.
All right. See ya.